Good evening, Philippines and the world. Today is Thursday, July 7, 2016. Join us in the next 45 minutes as we deliver today's top stories around the globe. I'm Angelo Castro III.
We are here to give you carefully gathered stories, assuring you of accurate, truthful, and balanced newscasts. I'm Angela Lagunsad, sitting in for Gerry Alcantara.
We are also seen in 1,360 satellite monitoring centers nationwide and via live streaming worldwide through www.untvweb.com. And this is Y News. Here are the headlines. Taiwan braces for Super Typhoon Nepertak's landfall. The Philippine National Police reveals the steps it will take to fight illegal drug problems in the country. Malacañang insists that President Rodrigo Duterte's move to reveal the names of the 5 generals in relation to illegal drug operations is supported by strong evidence and not a trial by publicity.
The Land Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board plans to disclose lists of alleged protectors of colorum vehicles. The Manila International Airport Authority clarifies that only the passengers who will be found with only one bullet in their luggage will not be apprehended. And Congressman Pantaleon Alvarez says the Commission on Elections has committed grave abuse of discretion on the extension of the submission of Statement of Contributions and Expenditures or SOSE.
First in the news, the Philippine National Police Anti-Illegal Drugs Group is confident that they will be able to solve problems on illegal drugs within the next 3 to 6 months as promised by President Rodrigo Duterte. Leia Ilagan will tell us why.
The Philippine National Police Anti-Illegal Drugs Group detailed the measures that the agency is planning to execute in order to solve the country's problem on illegal drugs given 3 to 6 months' time. AIDG Director Police Senior Superintendent Albert Ferro said the first thing they will do is update their database for profiling of drug users, pushers, and runners. They will classify their targets as high value and low value so that each group of operatives can focus on their specific targets. Subjects in possession of above 100 kilograms of illegal drugs are classified as level 5 targets. Those in possession of 10 kilograms to 50 kilograms are classified as level 4 targets. Those with 100 grams to 1 kilograms and up are level 3 targets, while those with 25 grams to 100 grams and up are level 2. And considered level 1 are those in possession of 1 gram to above 5 grams of illegal drugs.
34% of all the crimes in our countries are drug-related, and 81% of all heinous crime are drug-related. If we could stop this illegal trade, we could possibly suppress or make the crimes more lower.
The agency will also do an auditing of all cases that they have filed in court.
I-audit natin yung mga current cases sa mga various courts. Malaman natin ngayon kung ano yung nangyari dito sa mga kasong to. At i-identify natin din, based para sa ating counterintelligence initiative, is yung sino ba yung mga tiwaling prosecutors, sino yung mga involved din ng mga sa judicial, mamalaman lang natin para alam natin ang magiging status ng ipa-file namin ng mga asunto. No?
The agency will also conduct massive information campaign by distributing posters that contain the bad effect of illegal drugs. Superintendent Albert Ferro adds that the supply reduction and demand reduction are two essential systems in eradicating illegal drugs in the country, in support of the double-barrel strategy of the PNP chief. Leia Ilagan reporting for Y News.
The number of Philippine Army personnel who tested positive of illegal drug use has decreased. Rosalie Cos will tell us why.
From 2013 to 2015, 204 Philippine Army personnel were discharged from service because of illegal drugs use. In 2013, 131 soldiers were discharged, 38 in 2014 and 30 in 2015. This year, 5 have already been removed from the military service, but the number can still change because of the intensified random drug test in the military, in line with the project of the Duterte administration to eliminate illegal drugs in the country.
Seryoso naman kami sa campaign na to, and since the trend is going down, we hope maging-tuloy-tuloy na to. We hope maubos na rin mga gumagamit ng drugs sa Pilipinas.
Recently, through the random drug test conducted by the Philippine Army in its headquarters, in coordination with the Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency, 13 out of 2,500 soldiers failed the initial screening of mandatory drug test. All of them are still under investigation and in military custody while waiting for the result of confirmatory tests that will be released on Tuesday.
By Tuesday, I'll promise you, i-announce namin kung pag-positive sila sa confirmatory test.
If proven positive of illegal drugs use, it will be enough evidence to discharge them from service. Meanwhile, the Philippine Army leadership is also waiting for the voluntary surrender of soldiers who use illegal drugs. The Philippine Army is the biggest major service of the Armed Forces of the Philippines. Rosalie Coz reporting for YN News.
The Department of Health is planning to put up a drug rehabilitation center in every community in the country. Joanne Nano will tell us why.
The Department of Health is now creating different mechanisms to address the growing number of drug addicts who voluntarily surrender and want to turn over a new leaf. Included in their plans is the preparation and development of drug rehabilitation centers in the Philippines. Tomorrow, the Health Secretary is set to meet the officials handling different drug rehabilitation centers in the country. This aims to tackle the agency's efforts in helping to eliminate drug users in every community.
We're looking at assisting local government units develop their community-based rehabilitation services and counseling and treatment, outpatient treatment services.
Secretary Ubial, however, says not all drug addicts have to undergo rehabilitation. Others just need therapy and counseling by a psychiatrist. Because drug use is always associated with depression and mental health problems, DOH has put up a hotline to address these kind of concerns. It is called Hopeline, a phone-based counseling service that is ready to listen and advise 24/7. For those who seek counseling service, they can call 804-4673 or 0917-558-4673.
People who will answer the phone will have a resource book of where they can refer patients. We're also trying to develop a system, merong feedback mechanism from the group that person or patient X went there and availed of the services.
Each hotline will be manned by 3 to 4 psychiatrists who will refer them to the OH hospital, but it will still depend on the condition of the patient and the doctor's assessment. The project is expected to be fully operational in September 2016. The Department of Health believes that Hopeline will help in providing proper mental care in the country in accordance with the Duterte Health Agenda. Joanne reporting for YN News.
Senator Laila de Lima will file a resolution that aims to investigate summary executions of alleged illegal drug pushers. Brian De Paz will tell us why.
Reports of suspected drug pushers getting killed after allegedly resisting arrest and engaging police in an armed encounter have been flooding airwaves almost every day. These are apart from a number of summary executions where lifeless bodies are usually accompanied with note saying, "I am a drug pusher, do not be like me." According to De Lima, such incidents are alarming and the Senate should conduct an investigation on the matter. The probe aims to reveal whether the operations were legally executed and if any law violation was committed during the process of arrest.
Halos araw-araw, meron mga namamatay and many of them are an offshoot of police operations. We have to look into that in aid of legislation. Because syempre, okay, dumadami at You know, there are just telltale signs of summary executions in a number of them. Okay. Perhaps some of them are legitimate, meaning talagang, nanlaban, ng agaw, pero hindi naman pwede na lahat yan.
Senator De Lima adds that such method of neutralizing illegal drug personalities should not become a pattern because it will stain the good image of the government.
Kung maging pattern na yan, summary executions, summary killings, whether or not nanlaban, whether or not nang agaw ng baril, ay we're looking at really a messy society because violence breeds violence.
De Lima wants to author a bill that would be in accordance with the Senate investigation so that no one would strike against police operations when it comes to combating illegal drug activities. It will be the first resolution that Senator De Lima plans to file when the Senate session opens on July 25. Brian De Paz reporting for Y News.
Malacañang denies accusations of trial by publicity after President Rodrigo Duterte named 5 generals allegedly involved in illegal drugs. Nel Maribohok will tell us why.
Days after President Rodrigo Duterte's speech where he named 5 officials of the Philippine National Police in relation to illegal drug trade, netizens took the social media and aired their opinions. Malacañang, however, stands firm that President Duterte would not have named names if he didn't have any strong evidence to support his claims.
In this particular thing, I think, he will not name any person kung wala siyang valid basis. Maybe then siya. That this president is a lawyer, not just an ordinary lawyer. During his time, he was a top-notch prosecutor. At hindi siya nagpapile ng kaso ng walang batayan.
Chief Presidential Legal Counsel Salvador Panelo adds that the president's move was not intended to humiliate the generals. Instead, it will give the officials a chance to explain their sides on the issues.
Mas mahirap yung bigla kang isususpindi, i-relieve at sabihin, tanggal ka na kasi yun ang walang due process. Kaya nga maganda nga yun na, ginangalanan ko na kayo mga cuddler kayo, paliwanag kayo ngayon.
Panelo also reiterates that the evidence will be released in due time.
The evidence will only come out when formal charges are filed.
Nel Maribohok reporting for Y News.
The PDP Laban has asked the Supreme Court to nullify the Commission on Elections resolution granting the Liberal Party's request to extend the deadline for filing Statement of Contributions and Expenditures or SOSE. Victor Cosare will tell us why.
Excess in jurisdiction or grave abuse of discretion was the reasons stated by PDP Laban in its petition asking the Supreme Court to nullify COMELEC's resolution number 10147 that granted an extension to the deadline for the filing of the Statement of Contributions and Expenditures or SOSE. The 25-page petition of Congressman Pantaleon Alvarez, the Secretary General of the party, states that COMELEC's resolution violates the provision stated in Section 14 of the Republic Act 7166 that says filing of SOSE should be done on or within 30 days after the elections. Alvarez's lawyer stresses that the poll body has no authority to amend the law.
Sa paniniwala namin, yung ginawa ng COMELEC ay isang pagtapak sa kapangyarihan ng ating lehislatura. Sapagkat para sa amin, ang legislature lamang ang pwedeng magbago ng ating batas.
It can be recalled that COMELEC, voting 4-3, extended the original June 8 deadline to June 30. However, the petitioner argues that the decision was an accommodation to the Liberal Party, which is not proper for a regulatory body.
Nagkaroon naman ng extension, hindi naman po ito motu proprio o yung nanggaling talaga sa COMELEC o sa kusang loob ng Commission on Election. Subalit meron po kasing nag-request at ito po ay ang Liberal Party.
PDP Laban will leave it to the High Court on what will be the effect on the candidates if the said COMELEC resolution is nullified. It is stated in Republic Act 7166 that winning candidates cannot assume duties if their party fails to submit its SOSE at the given period. Meanwhile, COMELEC Chairman Andres Bautista says they will abide by the ruling of the court on the petition. Commissioner Rowena Guanzon, who is among those who voted in favor of the extension, agrees with the chairman. Victor Cosare, reporting for Y News.
Land Transportation, Franchising and Regulatory Board Chairman Attorney Martin Delgra is ready to disclose the names of alleged protectors of colorum vehicles in operation. Monokson will tell us why.
After President Rodrigo Duterte dropped a bombshell against 5 officials of the Philippine National Police who are allegedly involved in illegal drug operations, Land Transportation, Franchising and Regulatory Board Chairman Attorney Martin Delgra is likewise ready to reveal the names of protectors of colorum vehicles currently in operation. This is part of Delgra's agenda of fighting corruption in the LTFRB. This morning, a surprise massive anti-colorum operation was held at different areas in Metro Manila.
Alam ko na merong ganyan, no?
Ano yung ganyan, sir?
Merong mga protector din sa mga colorum. We have to assure the public that this will be sustained, no? At saka unpredictable, biglaan. Kaya hindi nyo alam kung saan at kailan titira kami.
Starting today, LTFRB will impose a more intensive campaign against colorum vehicles. The agency, however, admits that it will not be able to accomplish everything alone. Thus, it is seeking the assistance of the Metropolitan Manila Development Authority and the PNP Highway Patrol Group. Most of those apprehended were vans loading passengers from Bulacan going to Manila.
Nagtatrabaho po ako sa Ortigas. Sinasabay ko lang po sila. Oo, hindi po ako nahuhulog kasi nga ako pa literal na nahuhulog. Hindi po ako masasapat dito ng mga operation na yan kasi tsak na naitimbre na sa akin yan.
Another driver argued that he and the passengers live in the same subdivision and he just drives them to Metro Manila.
Mga kakilala ko po, sa subdivision.
One police officer identified as PO1 Divino Darwin of Makati City Police was caught illegally loading passengers. His service uniform was seen inside his vehicle. The interagency operations is in line with the administrative order of the Department of Transportation that obliges higher fines to colorum vehicles. A fine of 1 million pesos will be demanded to colorum buses, 200,000 for vans, 50,000 for passenger jeepneys, and 120,000 for sedan taxi. All apprehended colorum vehicles will be impounded at the LTFRB's impounding area in Taytay, Rizal. Monhokson reporting for Y News.
Passengers who will be found with only 1 bullet in their baggage will not be apprehended and will be allowed to travel. Monokson is back to tell us why.
The Manila International Airport Authority or MIA has a solution to the bullet planting issue. In case a passenger will be found with just 1 bullet in his luggage, will not be apprehended nor be charged with any case. The bullet, however, will be confiscated. According to Ed Monreal, the new MIA General Manager, passengers caught with 1 bullet will just need to fill out and sign some documents before they can be allowed to board their plane.
Wala na po tayong pagpapile ng kaso. It's just a matter of confiscation and then let the passengers go.
Monreal adds the bullet planting issue, which he points out as one of the causes of corruption in the airport, has to stop.
Ang unang tatanggalin po natin yun yung alleged corruption. Hindi po natin binabaliwala ang batas, pero kailangan naman po pag-ibayuhin natin yung nararapat sa ating mga manlalakbay.
Meanwhile, Public Attorney's Office Chief Attorney Persida Acosta is pleased with the new policy.
Tutuwa po ako, wala ng pangamba ang mga pasahero. Hindi po makapagbibiyahe na hindi po sila makukulong kung may makitang bala sa kalang pasahero. At siguradong maluloko yung mga taong naglalaglag bala at nangongotong dahil sa bala.
Acosta is the legal counsel of Michael Lane White. Several passengers were also delighted with the news.
Mas maganda yun kasi hindi ba marami na yung nakaproblema dito ng ganun kaso na hindi natin alam kung ano talaga ang totoo, hindi ba?
Okay ba? Okay yun kasi mantala kung sa labas ka ng bansa mapupunta antala yung biyahe mo, di ba? At saka perwisyo masyado, di ba?
Additionally, the Department of Transportation plans on implementing several improvements among airports. This morning, airline companies have signed a memorandum of agreement with the Transportation Department where they commit in undertaking the maintenance of the sanitation and orderliness of comfort rooms at the Ninoy Aquino International Airport or NAIA. Repair of air conditioning units, especially in Terminal 2 where 3 chillers are no longer functioning, will also be done. Several CCTV cameras will also be installed, particularly in the conveyor area where theft often takes place. The Transportation Department also assured free Wi-Fi access in all airports nationwide in the first 100 days of President Duterte's administration. The Manila International Airport Authority hopes that the Philippines will be struck out from the list of the worst airports worldwide. Instead, the country will be one of those admired and known to have impressive airports in the world. Mon Hokson reporting for Y News.
In other news, Malacañang announced this afternoon that President Rodrigo Duterte has appointed Vice President Leni Robredo as the chairman of the Housing and Urban Development Coordinating Council, or HUDCC. The palace said the Vice President has accepted the offer and is set to report for a first cabinet meeting on Monday. In a statement released by the Office of the Vice President, Robredo thanked the President and says the new post will arm her to push forth the work that her camp has started for the homeless and those who are part of the marginalized sector.
Y News will be right back. A law expert weighed in that changing the constitution may discourage foreign investors from investing in the Philippines. Grace Casin, please tell us why.
Former Dean of the UP College of Law, Attorney Pacifico Agabin, expressed the implications of amending the Constitution. One of them is the possible effect on our economy. He says foreign investors may shy away from investing in our country.
Yung mga very stable countries, hindi sila nagpapalit ng Constitution very frequent, kagaya yung American Constitution. More than 200 years na yan. Kasi yung mga investors takot sa pagbabago ng Constitution
Developed countries with 50 to 200-year-old constitution include United States of America, Norway, Canada, Luxembourg, Australia, Ireland, Germany, Kuwait, Brunei, and Singapore. On the other hand, NEDA Director General Ernesto Pernia believes that changing the constitution will be favorable to all investors. This is because of the possible loosening of restrictions on foreign investors.
Well, because one of the plans is to ease restrictions on foreign direct investment. So it's going to be music to the ears of investors.
Even the European Chamber of Commerce of the Philippines is saying that many investors will invest in the Philippines if the constitution is amended.
Especially now with ASEAN integration, you'll have to open anyway, because integration means you can trade freely within these countries, and so why not open? Globalization is equally important, if not more important, than ASEAN integration.
Grace Castro reporting for Y News.
The National Economic and Development Authority and the United Nations Population Fund will invest in government's youth policies and programs. Aiko Miguel will tell us why.
Based on a study by the United Nations Population Fund, 10% of the 100 million population of the Philippines is composed of youth ages 10 to 19 years old. 1 out of 10 Filipinas ages 15 to 19 years old has already given birth. 78% of Filipino youth have engaged in premarital sex, which raises the risk of pregnancy and sexually transmitted infections. Consequently, one of the solutions seen by NEDA is to widen the demographic division dividend or developing the country's economic growth by using the large population of working-age youth to make them more productive. One way is to invest in programs and policies of the government for the youth who lack in finances and proper knowledge.
Economic growth has been benefiting the upper income classes. We want to make economic growth more pro-poor, and that can be done by investment, investment and other policies.
Some of these are the full implementation of family planning, programs of the DepEd on sexuality education, and health care for the youth by the Department of Health. According to the United Nations Population Fund, through this, the youth's lives will be developed, will help them finish their studies, and will be given jobs instead of getting married at an early age.
And it's also about changing gender roles, gender responsibilities. What does it mean to be a young Filipino a man or boy? That you don't necessarily have to express your masculinity through having children or having sex. That there are other ways to become a man.
On Monday, July 11, the World Population Day with the theme Investing on Teenage Girls will be held at the Rizal Stadium. The attendance of Vice President Leni Robredo, Secretaries of the Department of Health and Department of Education will be expected. The attention of NEDA and United Nations Population Fund focuses to help youth, especially on teenage girls, who often do not finish their studies because of early childbirth, which is also the reason why they can't easily find jobs. Aiko Miguel reporting for Y News.
Senator J.V. Ejercito is hoping that the Sandigan Bayan will be fair in handling his cases in relation to the anomalous procurement of high-powered firearms using the Calamity Fund of San Juan when he was still the mayor in 2008. Joyce Balancho will tell us why.
Senator Joseph Victor Ejercito insists he did not violate the law when he allowed the purchase of high-powered firearms using the Calamity Fund of San Juan City when he served as mayor in 2008. Along with other accused, the senator is facing cases of graft and illegal use of public funds at the Sandigan Bayan for allotting the fund originally appropriated for another use.
I acted based on the situation at that time, nung mayor ako na talagang grabe ang medyo malala ang peace and order situation. Yun naman ang simula nung kaso to eh. And I'm proud that those equipment that we purchased are still being used right now.
In his arraignment earlier, he pleaded not guilty on the charge of illegal use of public funds before the Sandigan Bayan 6th Division. His co-accused, former Vice Mayor Leonardo Gonzalez Celes and former councilors Andoni Miguel Carballo, Joseph Christopher Toralba, Dante Espiritu Santiago, Grace Cortez Pardines, and Eduardo Velarde Soriano also pleaded not guilty. Meanwhile, former Vice Mayor Francis Zamora was arraigned ahead of Ejercito and the others due to his motion to travel that the court granted. He also entered the not guilty plea. Some of the accused, on the other hand, were not arraigned because of their pending motion to quash. The court set a preliminary conference on August 23 and 24 and a pre-trial on September 8. Aside from this case, Senator Ejercito is also facing a graft charge over the same incident. Last April 18, he pleaded not guilty to the charge before the Sandigan Bayan 5th Division.
I submitted myself to the legal process and I'm hoping for a favorable decision. Kasi ako naman confident ako sa defense namin, pero siyempre, still hoping and praying for a favorable decision. And I'm hoping to clear my name as soon as possible.
Joyce Balancho reporting for Y News.
Typhoon Butchoy slightly weakens as it slows down heading towards Taiwan. As of 4 p.m. today, it was located at 160 kilometers northeast of Itbayat, Batanes, having maximum sustained winds of 205 kilometers per hour and gustiness of up to 240 kilometers per hour. It moves west-northwest at 17 kilometers per hour. Tropical cyclone warning signal number 2 is still raised over Batanes group of islands where stormy weather may be experienced. Signal number 1 is raised over Babuyan group of islands where rains and gusty winds may also be experienced. Pag-asa also raised gale warning over the northern and the eastern seaboards of northern Luzon and the eastern seaboards of central Luzon. The western section of Luzon will experience moderate to occasionally heavy rains tomorrow as Typhoon Buchoy exits Philippine area of responsibility in the afternoon.
The Taiwan government is preparing ahead for the landfall of Category 5 Super Typhoon Nepartak later tonight. Amiel Pascual, please tell us why.
Residents in Taiwan, particularly those in the coastal areas, are preparing for the strong winds and heavy rains to be brought by the approaching Super Typhoon Nepartak.
Flooding rains in excess of 3 feet are expected to fall and cause flash floods and landslides. About 3,000 tourists have been evacuated from Green Orchid Islands ahead of the storm, two of the most popular tourist spots in Taitung County. Flights heading to Taiwan have already been cancelled. Thousands of troops have been mobilized across Taiwan and emergency services ramped up, especially in areas expected to brace the worst effect of the storm. Taiwanese Premier Lin Chuan has ordered local government units to inspect pumping stations and sewerage systems to prevent severe floodings. Businesses cut working hours, including shops where most Filipinos are working.
Sa ngayon po, nag-post po sila ng notice dun sa office, yung tungkol po sa bagyo, at saka po bawal na po kaming lumabas ng dorm. Curfew po namin is 12 ng tanghali, kailangan nasa loob na po kami ng dormitory.
Manila Economic and Cultural Office or MECO Director Attorney Mario Molina says they have been coordinating with the Filipino communities in Taiwan and the Taiwan authorities about the situation.
Ang magagawa lang siyempre namin is to communicate through our brokers and our Philcom na mag-ingat. And then later on, we will also try to get information kung may mga funds na apektuhan ng bagyo, both sa Philcom leaders at saka sa mga Taiwan authorities.
Based on the latest forecast of the Taiwan Weather Bureau, the storm center is at 360 kilometers southeast of Hualien at a speed of 18 kilometers per hour towards the west-northwestern direction.
Expert says Nepartak is the first Category 5 super typhoon formed in the northern hemisphere this year. It is expected to make landfall in Taiwan's east coast at midnight or Friday morning. From Taipei City, Taiwan, this is Amiel Pascual reporting for Y News.
At least 6 Yemeni troops and around 20 militant attackers are killed in a military base in Yemen. Meanwhile, San Diego police warns homeless people to be vigilant. Yoshiko Sata will tell us why.
In Yemen, security sources says a suicide bomb assault on a military base in Aden on Wednesday killed at least 6 Yemeni troops and around 20 militants. The assault began when 2 suicide bombers blew up their cars, followed by armed militants storming the Solaban base. They occupied several buildings but were killed after 4 hours of heavy gun battles. There was no immediate claim of responsibility, but Islamic State carried out a similar large-scale attack in the southern port of Mukalla on June 27. In recent days, there has also been a raft of bombings purportedly carried out by Islamic State in Saudi Arabia, Turkey, Bangladesh, and Iraq. In Georgia, 15 people were injured, 4 in serious condition in scuffles between opposition supporters and police in Sukhumi, the capital of the Georgian breakaway Republic of Abkhazia, earlier today. About 1,000 people gathered outside the Interior Ministry headquarters on Wednesday to demand a delay on the date of a referendum calling for early presidential elections scheduled for July 10 and calling for the immediate resignation of the Interior Minister. According to local media, 4 of those injured during the scuffles remain in hospital. Abkhazia broke from Georgian rule in a 1992 to 1993 war after the Soviet collapse. With just 240,000 people, Abkhazia is made up of a mix of ethnic groups. It borders the Russian resort city of Sochi. In America,
Police in San Diego, California, on Wednesday warned homeless people to be vigilant after a string of attacks they say could have been committed by one man. On Sunday, police found a man who was set on fire in a park, followed by 2 dead bodies over the July 4th holiday weekend. And on Wednesday morning, they found a 4th victim suffering from serious trauma to his upper torso. Officers handed out flyers to people waiting outside of the San Diego rescue mission to secure spots for the night.
We're getting a lot of investigative leads. We're following up on all those leads.
Police released images of a man they say could be responsible for the attacks. Yoshiko Sata reporting for Y News.
Brazilian protesters took to the streets less than a month before the 2016 Olympics. Meanwhile, Portugal is now on its way to the Euro 2016 finals. Aaron Romero tells us why.
With less than a month until the start of the 2016 Olympics in Rio de Janeiro, angry protesters took to the streets of the Brazilian city to protest the millions spent on the games amidst deep austerity cuts. Rio de Janeiro's finances have deteriorated so much that Brazil's government has authorized an emergency transfer of 2.9 billion reals for Rio's cash-strapped state to help for security for the Olympics. But these protesters believe the money could be better spent on Brazil's stretched public services. The cash lifeline from Brasilia to Rio also follows an announcement in January that the price tag for the 2016 Games had risen by nearly $100 million. The higher budget comes as the country wrestles with its worst recessions in decades and double-digit inflation. Meanwhile, Cristiano Ronaldo scored 1 goal and inadvertently set up the other as Portugal ground out a 2-0 win over Wales on Wednesday to march into the Euro 2016 final. The Portuguese superstar, who had to soak up a lot of criticism for a lackluster tournament by his high standards, majestically powered in a 50-minute header to put his side in front. Ronaldo then saw his shot turned in by Nani for a second goal 3 minutes later, ending Wales' remarkable run at their first major finals since 1958. The Portuguese, who had not won a single game in the tournament over 90 minutes, next meet hosts France or Germany, who play their semi-final on Thursday. Wales kept their opponents quiet in the first half, but could not recover the 2-goal deficit, ending a scintillating run that has captivated millions back home and turned their players into heroes. Aaron Romero reporting for Y News.
The Paris Aquarium is the first in France to successfully breed black-tipped sharks in captivity. Meanwhile, a mammoth replica of the biblical Noah's Ark, dubbed Ark Encounter, opens in Kentucky. Precious Ong tells us why.
The Paris Aquarium is the first in France to successfully breed black-tipped sharks in captivity, a rare event for these tranquil predators. With a total of 35 sharks of different species, the aquarium possesses the largest population in the country of these creatures, who live in a tank of 3 million liters of water.
C'est assez extraordinaire parce que c'est la première fois en France que des requins pointe noire se reproduisent et mettent bas des petits vivants. Et puis ce qui est surtout extraordinaire pour nous, c'est que ça fait presque 10 ans qu'on attend cet événement, parce que depuis qu'on est là, en fait, les requins qui sont arrivés tout petits ont grandi dans le bassin et là ils sont matures sexuellement à l'âge de 10 ans et ils se reproduisent. Donc ça veut dire que quand même on a bien fait notre travail d'un certain côté, parce que les requins sont bien dans leur environnement pour se reproduire.
A female blacktip can give birth to up to 6 pups, which can weigh over 60 kilograms and measure over 160 centimeters. They will either be kept at the Paris Aquarium or transferred elsewhere. Meanwhile, a biblical Noah's Ark-themed attraction featuring a 510-foot boat was unveiled to the public in rural Kentucky. The attraction, dubbed Ark Encounter, was built by a Christian group who believe in creationism and reject the theory of evolution. The group says more than 4,000 people have made reservations for today's opening, and developers expect more than 1.4 million to tour the park in its first year. Precious Ong reporting for Y News.
Those are the reasons behind the news, July 7, 2016. I'm Angelo Castro III.
Reasons we delivered to you as they unfold. I'm Angela Lagunsad, sitting in for Gerry Alcantara.
Because we need to know, we will always ask why. Thank you for watching
Y News.